Hey, welcome to the Heavy Sweater Podcast. My name is John King. I'm tired as fuck. But you're listening to the Heavy Sweater Podcast. If this is your first time listening, this is the Heavy Sweater Podcast. It's a deep dive into the beginnings of musicians and bands of the heavy variety. And this week we've got fucking Jack Pallett from Traces. Really sick band. I've been friends with Jack on Facebook for fucking years. Maybe even when Traces just started, or maybe even before that, so fucking long. But he's always fucking putting up great content, so fucking he's the man. You can check out their new single, Crown of Thorns, available wherever you listen to music. And they just played King Lear's Throne in Brisbane last night. So yeah, I didn't go. My week last week was literally the busiest week I think I've ever had in my entire life. I did 3 practices with 2 bands, recorded 5 podcasts. Yeah, fucking busy, man. Busy as fuck. But it's all settling down now, so I've got these podcasts banged up for fucking ages. But yeah, definitely check out Traces. They're new. So we didn't go to the show last night because of that, but check them out. I listen to fucking Traces all the time. They're fucking real sick. So yeah, check them out. Definitely want to have another one on with Jack, and I just definitely support his idea of starting a podcast of his own. That would be fucking sick. The concept is something that I haven't heard of before, really. So yeah, I think that'd be sick. But yeah, check him out wherever you listen to music. All that being said, it's Sunday. You know what that means. Here's the music. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good, thanks, man. How about yourself?
Yeah, good. Busy. Shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the way. It's a bit like life's a bit like that, especially with COVID, man.
Oh man, it's rough. I got a show this weekend. I did a practice last night. I got one tomorrow night with my band, and then another one with a band I'm filling in for, and 10 podcasts this week. I'm rat shit.
Yeah, man. I don't know how you'd balance that. I'd crawl up into a ball and
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
man, I don't know how you do that many bands. Like I struggle enough with one. So
I'm only in one. I'm just filling in for some buddies of mine. Yeah, so I played bass with them 2 nights in a row, and then this weekend playing guitar up in Nambour, so that should be sick.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That'll be cool. Is there much of a scene up in Nambour?
There used to be Sunny Coast scene used to go fucking hard back in the day with Wish for Wings and all the Tomb of Doom and shit like that, all the more deathcore bands.
I remember Tomb of Doom.
Yeah, they're fucking sick.
Those guys.
Yeah.
They were hectic.
Yeah.
Man.
Fuzz Slam is one of the best songs of all time.
Man, that brings back some damn memories, hey.
Yeah.
Tomb of Doom, dude, that takes me so back.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
But lately Nambour has been popping off again because they're having shows there, and then there's 11 Dive Bar up in Maroochydore. So we played there with my band in December, which was sick, good turnout. And then Nambour's all ages, so it's good for the community.
Yeah, nice. Wait, how far up from Brisbane is that? If you don't mind me asking. I'm not very sure.
It's I used to live up on the Sunshine Coast. It would take me about an hour and a half to get to Brisbane for practice.
Oh, yeah. Fine.
So
wait, so is it only just an hour and a half or so?
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not the worst. If there's traffic pretty brutal, then it's takes way longer. But yeah,
but it's not one of those places where it's so many hours north that it's
no. It feels like it though, because there's this one massive period that's just pine trees for fucking ages up the highway, and it feels like it takes forever.
Yeah. Those bits on the highways, especially when you're on tour or trying to just get somewhere in general, always sucks the worst. So much.
Yeah.
There's so for us, whenever we go and play basically anywhere down south, which is Sydney, Melbourne, anywhere, there's this bit of road, and I wouldn't call it a bit, I'd call it a hell of a lot of road, in between, I think it's Scone. Yeah, it's in between. Well, no, it's not in between. It's in between Muscle. No, yeah, it's Scone and it's in between Scone and Tamworth.
Okay.
And it is the most boring road ever. Like there are no town, like no good towns. Like all of
Yeah,
the towns, like these tiny ones that like everything shuts at 6 p.m.
yeah.
and it's got
There's
like
like
four
IGA and
houses.
spas and shit there.
They do. I don't even know if half of them have an IGA, man.
Oh
Like
fuck.
it's like that. Like they're that small. It's like a servo, and yeah, maybe an IGA or like maybe a Food Works or something.
Yeah, Foodworks is
And
a
like
classic small town one. Yeah.
yeah, and Subway for some reason, which is interesting. Um,
So
but
sick.
yeah, it's so weird. Like it's just this road that like every single time you get on it, like it's just there's just nothing. There's nothing to look at. There's nothing interesting happening. The road is just straight, long, and boring.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's all the way to Tamworth. And like every time we drive on it, man, it's like you're almost like I should just crash into a tree because like that will be more fun
yeah, yeah.
than like sitting on this road for ages. Like it's I swear it's just like part of it. Like every place has one of those like
Yeah.
things somewhere, and it's like just unavoidable, which
Yeah.
sucks.
No, it's the
You
worst.
know?
I'm pretty sure, like, when my first band did a couple of shows in Sydney, when we were driving back, it was this period of between, it was like north of Newcastle. It was probably even like further up than that, but it was just south of Ballina. And I'm pretty
Oh
sure I
yeah.
fell asleep while driving.
Oh dude, that's not good.
And I didn't
That's not
crash,
good at
but
all.
like, I was just like, oh, I'm cognizant of where I am now.
But just so bored, like just
Yeah.
so like tired and bored that you're like,
Yeah.
this is so boring, man.
Yeah. It's like
Like,
that roadworks that they've been doing for like fucking years on the highway.
oh dude,
Like
yeah.
that period, I just don't remember that. I remember going down through it, but coming back, I don't remember
The never-ending road
it.
works.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh man. Yeah, those poor guys who like build the roads really can't catch a break. Hey.
no, especially when they build roads like shit.
Yeah, oh dude, yeah, barely filling in the potholes, all of
Yeah,
that stuff. It's just
yeah.
like,
Well,
yeah.
they just top them up, and then the next time it rains, like all that shit comes out, and then the pothole's bigger.
Yeah. Poor dudes, they definitely can't catch a break. I mean, like,
No,
mind you, like you were working out in the hot sun all day like that, you probably would just be like, "Fuck this!" Like, I
yeah,
don't.
yeah. Fuck this
People,
road. Fuck
people,
anyone that
yeah,
drives on it.
yeah. You guys can all go get stuffed, you know,
Yeah,
like, but
sick.
yeah, far out.
Well, fuck yeah. We'll get into you and music for you. So, what's like the first heavy-ish band you remember listening to or hearing?
So technically it was Metallica, but I didn't
Okay,
know it was Metallica at the time. So the first one that I was like consciously aware of, like heavy wise, was Arch Enemy.
okay,
But I guess there's like two stories with that. So the first band I technically heard was Metallica, and it was Sabbath True.
okay.
And I was at like a friend's house when I was like, I don't know, in like year 3 or 2 or something like that, and we were playing Halo on the computer. It had
Okay.
some music playing, and there was like this song playing, and I had the lyrics stuck in my head, and I thought it was called like Sad Patrol or something like that. And I was like
Sick.
seeing her in the car like on the way home. I was like, man, it's a sick song, and like I never heard it ever again. Like
Mm,
until obviously I found out what it was, like 10 years later or something.
yeah.
Um, but like that was technically the first one, but I didn't know at all at the time. But the first time I could consciously remember listening to heavy music, I was probably like 11 or 12 or something. My parents had bought me like a little like portable radio thing,
Okay.
and I was like using it to listen to like Triple J here and there.
Okay.
Because like at the time, like like Eskimo Joe, like Black
Yeah. Yeah.
Females Red Wine was like on, and
Big
that is when they
emo
were like really,
times.
yeah, it was back then, and I was like listening to that, and I just thought that was the sickest song. And one day I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll just tune in because it was late at night, and I'm like, yeah, I'll just tune in and like have a listen, because like I'm not meant to be up right now, but
Yeah.
my parents don't know. You're
Yeah.
11 and
Yeah.
you think you're really cool. So I started listening, and for some reason, there's just this like, just this song with this person just screaming their guts out, and I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is this? And yeah, it turns out I accidentally tuned into the racket, and they were
Fuck yeah.
playing some song by Arch Enemy or something. I can't remember something like Tyrant something or other.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that was the first one I heard, and then I was like, this is the most like insane stuff.
Yeah.
And then I never tuned in again after that.
Oh.
But I just remember feeling like I obviously did after
Yeah.
like a while, but like I didn't know when like this whole like metal show was on. So like I'd occasionally tune in and get like stuck at the hip hop show, or I tune in and you get some like weird electronic music, which at the time when I was 11, I just didn't like. So I just kind of gave up.
Yeah.
But that was the first like time I'd like listen to heavy music and I was like, this is it. Like, this is absolutely insane. This is like the coolest thing ever. And then I forgot about it for about like a year or two. And then I ended up in high school, I got invited to play in a band, and I was like obsessed with like Wolfmother and AC/DC at the time, and that's all I wanted to play. And they're like, "Oh, we're gonna play this like song called Enter Sandman."
Oh yes.
Yeah, and I was like, Metallica, I don't want to play that shit. Like, you know, like I was like, I don't want to play that metal crap because obviously, like, it's 2 years after I'd like listened to that thing, I completely forgotten about it. I'm like a rock snob again, and I was like, no, I'm not playing that. Like, it sounds like crap. And then like I never listened to it. And then one day I like turned up to practice, and there was a song playing on the speakers, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. What is it? And they're like, oh, it's Metallica and Salmon. And I was like, this is the best thing I've ever heard in my fucking life. Like, so I went home, learned the song, and then found Sad But True. And I was like, oh, it's that song from when I was a kid.
Fucking
like
Sad Patrol.
I was still, yeah, Sad Patrol. I was like, yeah, pretty much, man. Like, I was like, oh, it's that song from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And yeah, ended up learning all Metallica songs, and I think I've now dodged the question. Well, not dodged the question, but I think I've like diverted from my first heavy experience to like some other question, like how I got into heavy music or something.
No, I think that covers everything, which is sick.
Yeah, but basically from there, obviously you learn everything that Metallica puts out, and then you're looking for something heavier, and then you run into more shit, and then you know where that ends up. Next thing you know, you're listening to some like grindcore band that's singing about like blowing up a church or something like that, and you're like,
blowing up
this
a church
is great,
filled with like unborn babies or some shit.
Or something like that. And then a few years later, you kind of get past that, and you go, oh, I'm just gonna listen to like Whitney Houston on repeat. You know, like so. Yeah, that's my heavy music journey, I guess.
Sick. And so, was it bands like Wolfmother that made you want to start playing music?
No, not really. So like I've sort of always wanted to play music since I was like a little kid. So my parents played in a church band.
Oh wow.
For the longest time. Yes, they played in a church band, and like I always just like I was surrounded by that as a kid. So I just always kind of wanted to play music as well. So I just be like, oh, picking up, you know, like picking up, like I think my parents had like a ukulele that they let me play occasionally. So I like pretend to play that obviously at like 3 or 4 years old or some shit, and like eventually like, you know, try to learn how to sing when you're 6, and obviously you suck ass, but you're like, oh, I'm gonna start a band or something, and you never do, and then you hit like I think at 10 I was like, I think my parents like, you need to learn a musical instrument or something, and
really
Mum was like, you should learn the piano, and I was like, nah, because my brother knows how to play the piano and it looks lame, and I don't want to do that. I want to play guitar, but my hands are too little to play. Like my hands were too little to play guitar and stuff, and all this like extra stuff, because like my dad had tried to teach me like a year beforehand, and I couldn't play anything. So I got lessons, and like through lessons, I eventually just got more into music. But the actual reason that I got really heavily into music, like super into music, and not just kind of like, oh yeah, it's a thing that I like just do, was in like year 6 or something. Like I wasn't a very popular kid at school, and I brought my guitar to school on like the last week of school, because I was like, I don't really want to be lonely, and so I'll just sit around and play guitar all day or something. And all of a sudden, like all the kids that like used to bully me and like treat me like crap at school didn't treat me like crap and actually wanted to talk to me and stuff.
Oh, sick.
So, yeah, it's really weird. So like, I mean, mind you, like, you know, a year later in high school, they were back to being assholes to me. But like it was just weird, because I was like, I think it's an interesting thing, because like when I think back on it, it's like how kind of ridiculous. Like I've always wanted to do music, and I've always wanted to do something, and music happened to just be the thing that got people to treat me like a normal person. 5 minutes, when like, well, I guess like, it's just weird. It's weird stuff, man. But that like I was into music, but I guess like just seeing my parents play, then just like having music as a release when you're younger, like being able to play guitar or
Yeah,
listening to music to make yourself feel better.
yeah,
That gets you more into it, and then I think yeah, just getting into like just taking my guitar to school and having people treat me normally just made me kind of go, oh, this is actually like pretty cool. And yeah, obviously you go down the rabbit hole of finding bands, and then the
yeah.
bands help you through like tough times, and that just makes you more motivated to do more music shit. And yeah, that was sort of it.
Yeah, fuck yeah, that's sick. I identify with that heavily because
Oh
my
hell yeah.
upbringing was like sort of the same. I was like, except I'd bring like my drumsticks to school, and people would still be like, "You're a fucking weirdo that only like talks about music," and I was like, "Fuck you, dude." Like,
Man, yeah. It's a bit like that sometimes. Hey, like you get like it's like at some points people treat you really nicely for it, and then
yeah,
at other points it's like you're just that freak that
yeah,
like gets around, playing music, and they all laugh at you when they're like, when you're like 14, 15 or something, and then out of school, I guess it depends on what they do with their life, but at
yeah,
least I don't know about you, man, but in my case, like most of them, like they got some job they hate, and
yeah,
stuck with like heaps of debt and just all this like stuff, and their lives are kind of boring.
yeah,
And it's like I get up and I like make music every day. So
yeah.
like,
Literally,
you're sort of like, well, joke's on you. Like I with other people, I guess like with other musicians, I guess like, it's sort of like you look at it and you're like, well, all my friends have like houses and like
yeah,
a good
yeah,
life,
yeah,
and I'm here, in a share house or like just living in an apartment trying to like make a fucking record, like
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. I guess it just depends on how you look at it. But
Yeah,
no, that's really cool though, man, that you had a similar story. Hey.
yeah. I think about it all the time. I'm like, they're either working for like where I lived when I first started high school, like they all work at like the timber yard, or like where I ended up finishing high school, they're all like council workers and shit like that, and they're like ashamed of their life almost. And I'm like, I fucking love what I do. Like I
Yeah.
record podcasts and play music and hang out with fucking rad people and just talk about how sick the used were.
Yeah, dude, that's it. That's
Like,
it. Like I guess you just got to kind of like go get your own thing in life and stuff. And I guess like in high school, like it's really weird because normally the people that get picked on and stuff, and normally the people that like it's that horrible cliche that your parents always give you, like, oh, you're a nerd now, but like after high school, like everyone will treat you nicer and stuff, and you never believe it until it actually happens, and then you realize the reason is because everyone's picking on you because everyone's insecure and they feel
yeah,
threatened because you've got the courage to kind of like go out and do your own thing, and they don't. So instead of like feeling inspired by it or feeling like, hey, this is really cool, they just like, I
lash
need to
out
tear this person
almost.
down. Yeah,
Yeah,
because it
yeah,
hurts them, like
yeah.
threatens their identity and stuff.
And
So
also, you never have to see those people again once you leave school, which is the best part.
yeah, that's it,
So
man. I
they
mean, well,
can,
for me,
yeah.
oh, you go, man.
Oh, I was just gonna say they can ponder on like how shitty of a person they were when they were a kid.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's it. Like for me, especially too, like I work at home, so like I don't even have to run into the type of people that I don't like,
Yeah, yeah,
even in a workplace. So I'm just sort of like, huh, this is awesome.
yeah. Fuck
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
sick.
big jokes on everyone. Like, yeah, it's actually so dumb, man. Because like in school, like I used to. So I don't know how old you are, but
I'm 27.
I don't 27. So you would have
Yeah.
had those like school laptops that were given out.
Yeah, like the first run of them because I was
Yep.
living in New South Wales at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So those school laptops, the ones that we got had like a copy of Photoshop and stuff on them. So like I would
that's so
spend
sick.
most of my like, yeah, it's insane. It was like Photoshop Elements or something, like a light version. But I spent most of my like class time either sleeping, because I was like up all night making music, or like just like messing around with stuff on Photoshop, like making like flyers for like some gigs we had coming up, or just like messing with photos or trying to make album art or something. And like I remember I used to get in trouble all the time from teachers, like, oh, he doesn't concentrate in class, like he sits on his computer and does like this thing, you shouldn't be doing that, like it's not going to help you in the long run. And it's like, it's literally what I do for a job now. Like
Yeah,
nothing I did in school has helped me,
no,
like, I mean, beyond like basic maths and all of that, that obviously
even
helps you
then.
not like become, yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
well, that's it, man. But yeah, almost everything I've learned in school has not helped me one bit. It's
No,
not given me anything. And I sort of like look back on it and I go, man, I think the main thing I just took from school was like I don't know, just like how, maybe like a tolerance of bullshit, or just being
Yeah,
like, I don't want to be a part of any of that ever again, and
yeah,
knowing what I don't like in life. But
yeah.
yeah, I don't know, man. It's nuts. But it is funny how that stuff pans out. It seems to be a lot of people in counterculture that I guess make the biggest waves in the end of the day and stuff.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
it's cool. It's cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, I feel like out of everybody I went to, like me personally, everybody I went to high school with in my grades, like I'm the only person that's like in a creative field like I am.
Oh, dude, really?
Yeah, I think like the only other like maybe there's a guy that is a barber and that's about it. Like that's the only other creative person
Yeah,
from
far
like my
out.
high school.
Dude, that's nuts. I mean, like, not everyone is creative, and you don't have to be, but
No.
it does kind of get interesting though, like when you see where people end up after school and stuff, like who ends up going and doing the things that they want to do, who ends up, just sort of just trying to exist and stuff. Like it's always the opposite. Like you always get these people in school that do like amazingly, and then out of school, it's like totally different ball game. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's the
I don't
real
know. So if
world.
any kid, yeah, that's it. If any
Yeah.
kid for some reason is listening to this, which I highly doubt that, but like,
I
um,
have
yeah,
friends
if
with
you,
kids that listen to the podcast.
oh, cool. Well, if you're a kid and you're listening to this, yeah, don't worry about school. Just enjoy your time, enjoy being a kid.
Enjoy
Not
lunch.
because it's the best years of your life or some crap like that, but like, you'll have your chance
Yeah.
eventually. It'll
Yeah.
happen.
Well, I want to go
Yeah.
back to the church band thing. Were your parents receptive of
Nice.
you listening to heavy music?
Um, yes and no. So it's like actually an interesting it's actually really interesting. So like at first they weren't like all that cool about it.
Yeah.
Like for example, I remember when I was a kid, I like had this like 10 watt amp and they're like, don't press the distortion button on it.
Ooh.
Like stuff like that. And I was
Sick.
like, okay, like I don't think it had anything to do with religion or anything. I think it's
Yeah.
just like music taste and like just oh, I wouldn't say sheltered lifestyle, but just didn't grow up
It's a
in any
different,
of that.
like different culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, different culture and everything. But like no, they were pretty good. Like they've been really supportive of it and everything. Like, um, yeah, I mean they've been supportive of it since I was like young. Like I think earlier on they didn't totally get it. Like
Yeah.
my dad was like always like trying to get into the same bands and stuff like that. After a while, like he was like, oh yeah, I'll check this out and this is sick and this is dope and everything. Mum, not so much, but
Yeah.
um yeah, like they were never they like I think the most it was is like, I'm like 11 and I'm like, oh, turn distortion on. They're like, you don't need that. And
Yeah.
it's like, why? It's like you just don't need to use it. And it's like,
You
okay.
definitely do. The riffs sound way cooler
Yeah,
with the
yeah, it's
distortion.
like, yeah, it's like okay, sure. But yeah, that I mean that like yeah, they were completely supportive. I mean, like they drove me to gigs. They like let me meet a heap of people in like that scene and stuff. So
Sick.
like I would say it could definitely be a hell of a lot worse. Like yeah,
Definitely.
just because they went to church and stuff didn't mean they were like lame. They're actually pretty
Fuck
cool
yeah.
parents.
That's sick. It's rad they're supportive. Like my old boy was
Yeah.
like sort of supportive, but kind of like, "Ah, I don't know about this. Like this music thing, how long is this gonna last?" And that's when I was
Yep.
11.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, my parents were definitely. Oh, like I my dad was always like really really supportive of it, like to the point where like because he used to work at the school that I went to, and like the
Okay.
teachers would like kind of like roast him a little bit for like, oh, his son just sleeps in class, man, like and he's like, you need to like piss off and leave him alone. Hey, like he's literally not going to like he's going to leave school and do music,
Yeah.
like like
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
going to leave school and he's going to do music. Like he has no use for any of this stuff, and he's only here because he has to be. So like,
Yeah.
just cut him some slack, man. So dad was always like really supportive. Mum is supportive too, but didn't really. I don't think she saw it. I think as just like a fun thing, a little bit of a hobby,
Yeah.
a little bit of a side thing until like. Well, like until it started kind of going a little bit better and stuff, and until like after school, where it's like I'm still, like at it,
Yeah. Yeah.
like without failure. It's like it's like this is definitely isn't just something I was just doing during school and I'm gonna find a job or something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. I mean, like I do have a job, but like it's still related to music and
Yeah. Music's your
well,
main
in a way,
priority.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Music's basically my life at this
Yeah,
point. So
we are
yeah,
definitely the same person. I
yeah,
was definitely like that as a kid. I had like a
yeah.
teacher come up to me be like, "What are you gonna do when you leave school next year?" I was like, "I'm gonna start playing in bands." And they're like, "Good luck with that." I'm like, "The fuck you mean, good luck with that? That's what's happening."
Yeah, that I think that like I guess that you might be able to relate to this too. Like you get that thing where people kind of like treat you kind of like an idiot for like
Yeah,
playing music. And it's like, oh, you're not gonna make any money. I mean, like there's a reason why a lot of musicians don't make money, and it's because
yeah,
not many of them are very good business people.
yeah,
But like it's like most people just like think, oh yeah, you're just gonna like sit around, get stoned, and I don't know, like play riffs all day or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
It's like, oh yeah, good luck, man. Like you'll need it because you're not gonna, you're not gonna get anywhere,
yeah,
playing music. And then like 2 3 years later, you know, you haven't even made it. You're not playing a good show at all. Like you're playing like to 50 people in a basement,
yeah, yeah,
somewhere, some shit, and like oh well, actually, that's kind of funny because we just did. But it was a good show, by the way. It
yeah,
was
yeah.
a good show. But I'm meaning like it's not like a stadium full of like 10,000 people or something. And people are like,
No,
man, you like the same people that were like doubting you, like 2 3 years earlier, are like, oh, you guys are like really killing it right now. And
yeah, yeah,
it's like yeah. So when it's like back then when I talked about it, you're like, no, 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 like it's not going to work out. But now that I'm not totally killing it, like I'm still in the process of like getting there and
yeah,
doing everything. You're like, yeah, you're killing it. It's like, all right, cool, sure.
yeah,
I'm glad that your threshold of success is a hell of a lot lower than mine
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
like
Because to us, it's just that's the grind and the hustle of like you've got to play the shows on a Thursday night to like a couple of people or like
yeah,
whenever, just to like keep it going.
yeah, that's it, man. Like you just go for it and not, I think the biggest thing with music is not letting it's a combination of like trying to stay humble and not letting things get to your head,
Yeah,
but also trying to stay like it's gonna sound stupid but a little bit delusional and like allowing some of those things to get to your head so you
yeah,
like
yeah,
keep going and you're like, yeah, like this is gonna be fucking awesome later.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
because yeah, it's weird. It's like music is such an interesting thing, man, because it's like I don't know. I find like the people who have to do it, you have to be the right combination of humble and delusional to be able like to want to do that
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of thing.
And
Like
also incredibly self conscious.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Self conscious, man. That's yeah. You've got to be pretty self aware, self conscious. Like yeah, it's a very interesting combination of traits that you've got to do. Well, music and art in general,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think, like really interesting combination of traits that you got to have to do it. And I don't think it's for everyone. I guess that's what they say. It's like music life isn't for everyone, but
The people it's
for the
for,
people that,
it's fucking worth it.
yeah, yeah, that's it, man. You can't beat it.
No.
Like after years of not playing shows, like the other night, well, last night actually, we played one, and I was like, oh man, like why the fuck would I do anything else?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
how ridiculous.
No, I fully get that. Like even like my new band that I've started is just like we're just starting out. We play, and then people come up to us and they're like, "That was sick. Like I've heard your stuff before I came out." And it's like, "Oh, cool. You came out and saw us because you wanted to see us. Like that's rad."
Yeah, yeah. When you hear stuff like that too, it makes you just go, wow, like this is really cool. Like someone actually took the time. I think the thing too is like it's almost like a bit of a shock too, because it's like someone's
Yeah,
like, hey man, I checked out your music, it's really cool or something. And you're just like, what?
yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
like some dude that makes crap in my bedroom because
yeah.
I'm like
Literally,
not
yeah,
because I need some kind of purpose in my life because otherwise like I'm gonna have to like work at Macca's or something. No
yeah,
offense
yeah.
to anyone that works at Macca's, just
No,
like
quarter
it's
pounders rip.
yeah they do.
Yeah,
But it's like you're like I'm not some like cool dude. I just sit
yeah,
around and I'm just trying to make songs because like I suck at video games, like
yeah.
something.
Like that was just like
Um,
your thing as a kid. It was like your
yeah,
music was as opposed to like the kids that played COD. Like I was the same. I was like, "You're gonna play COD when you go home. I'm gonna sit down with my guitar for like 4 hours until I go to bed."
yeah, that's it, man. And it's just like I guess it's just what I do. I think it's just I mean I guess it's probably the same thing with streamers though. Like they probably have the same kind of thing where it's like to play video games as a kid and everyone like goes, you can't do anything with
Yeah,
video games. And now you get these dudes that like, they make some mad bank
Yeah,
playing video games, and
for
it's just
sure.
sort of like, don't count your chickens before the
Yeah,
hatch,
yeah,
like,
definitely.
um, yeah, it's interesting stuff, man. But yeah, music's definitely for I've lost my train of thought. Sorry, man. This
It's
is
all
probably
good.
I've just derailed. Good pun. Derailed the podcast.
That's
Awesome.
sick. That's sick. No. Well, we'll get into like because you guys just have a new single coming out. We'll touch on that a little bit, like not in depth, but like it's out. It's fucking sick. Good job.
Thanks, man. Thanks for taking the time to have a listen.
It's all good. But what's next? Like you guys doing the EP thing or singles or
So basically, man, we've got just give me 1 second.
that's all good.
I just gotta shut my door. Sorry, my partner's just like having a shower, listening to music, and I was like, I
Oh.
can hear it in the background. And yeah, like our song came on, and I was like, yeah, I think she's like on TikTok or something like
Oh,
that.
okay.
So yeah,
Oh man,
or like having a
TikTok's a
bath or something
nightmare.
like that. TikTok is so addictive.
Yeah.
It's cool though. It's cool. I love it. I love it. It's like my favorite platform. Could you throw that question at me again? Just so I can.
Yeah, like you have the new single out, it's fucking sick. But like what's the plan moving forward with Traces? Like is it gonna be more singles or like a full EP release and rollout and everything?
So pretty much so what we were originally planning is just dropping like single after single after
Yeah.
single, um, until like while we kind of like wrote and recorded an album, and then we were gonna drop that just because like I mean the singles we were gonna drop were gonna like make up like these like little EPs and stuff, but we were sort of just
Okay.
gonna be like, I mean, if we're gonna put all that effort into making merch and doing all that, we might as well just do a couple more songs and stuff.
Yeah.
But pandemic hit when we were about to release the first one, which was this single that we just released, Crown.
Yeah.
Yeah, pandemic hit, and we kind of just like we had a couple of songs in the pipeline. Like pandemic hit. On top of that, too, when we went to release it, we kind of had some money issues and some other stuff, and
Oh,
I kind of was like, I can't. Pretty much, it was just like this isn't going to come out the way that we want it to.
yeah.
If we try and move forward now, so we're just gonna have to wait like a month or two, and we did, and then yeah, COVID hit, and we are like, fuck, what are we gonna do? So we sort of kind of sat on it for a while, and we ended up just making more songs. So we've got an album of
Oh, yeah.
we've got an album, yeah. So we've got an album now that we've like finished recording. I'm just like on the tail end of mixing it. And we're basically just going to be dropping the songs and singles and stuff from that. Like it's not gonna be like traditional like album thing where we just drop three
Yeah, yeah.
singles and then the whole thing. We're gonna just basically release singles throughout the whole entire year.
Sick.
Some of them we're gonna do a music video and go all out like we did with like this one. Some of them
Yeah.
we might just be like, hey, here's a new song and that's it, and we're not gonna like fuss over it too much. But pretty much it's just singles, but
Yeah.
they're all on an album. They're all connected to an album. So yeah, that's sort of what's next, is just releasing a shit ton of singles and then dropping our album when enough of those singles are out of the pipeline and out. Like
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a
and
really
after
creative way of like releasing album.
yeah, well, what's it called? Like singles are like the thing these days, and
Yeah.
it kind of makes it a little bit hard because um what's it called? Like it makes it kind of hard because like I would say music fans like really like deeper experiences like an album. like
Yeah.
like I'll be honest with you, man, like yeah, a single is awesome, having a cool song to listen to is awesome, but there is something about being able to just digest a whole piece of music when you
Yeah.
really like a band.
Yeah.
And without that, you're losing so much potential when it comes to like new fans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and trying to find the balance of that. I mean, like, I guess people sort of found something like that with EPs, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, hardcore music fans, they're always like, yeah, like EPs are okay, but I want an album.
Yeah.
They're
I
like,
think
give
it's
me my
just
fuck.
I think it's just the mentality of like how things are consumed now. Like, and then with the algorithms of everything, like you can't push an album as hard as you can push two singles in 2 months.
Yep, that's it. And everyone will feel like once you release an album, everyone's forgotten about it 5 minutes later.
Yeah, where you kind of
So
need that hype train constantly.
yeah, yeah. So our way around that, which we were like planning on doing for a while, but it was sort of something we planned on before COVID with this whole like singles thing. We originally had this like idea where we would put a heap of singles out, and under this like colors kind of like banner, like a theme
Okay.
where like
Yeah, yeah.
each. So we were gonna do like a red, green, blue thing, and they were like gonna be these separate like little EP, not really EP things, and they would make up an album.
Yeah, yeah. Almost
Um,
like Acacia Strain did that.
yeah,
Kind
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so it would make up an album in the end of the day, and that way we would keep people interested in like the whole release while we were still kind of like putting out all the singles, but it would also kind of have a little bit of an album vibe to it
Yeah.
because everyone knows what's coming. And I think that's the thing about an album that's like interesting for a lot of fans is that it's like you, there's the anticipation, you know what's coming, and there's like you know that there's more songs and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And on top of that, once it's actually out, yeah, there's a whole piece of music to like kind of like digest and everything like that. But we were trying to kind of like figure out a way around that for the past probably like 2 years. And oh sorry man, a
That's all
big
good.
night last night.
It's good.
Pretty much our kind of like way around it is like um we kind of took a bit of a cue from something that we accidentally did with our first EP release a few years ago. Because we kind of hyped it up and started talking about it before it was out because we thought we were going to record it and then
Yeah.
we didn't because like half the band quit, and then we thought we were going to record it again and then we didn't because we ran out of money, and then we thought we just like hyped this release up for like years and years and years, and just doing that managed to get people interested in like wanting to check it out and stuff. And we were like, well, how about we just like try and do that again, but instead of like just posting hype and demos or like riff videos and shit on the internet, like
Yeah, yeah.
what if we actually just like do it properly, release singles, so that way everyone's still kind of getting singles
Yeah.
and they're still getting like all of that different stuff, but there is an album at the end of it. But we're not doing it like, here's the album, all right, cool, everyone forget about it. And
Yeah.
it's like every song on the album will be out by the time the album's out, so by the time everyone forgets about it, we've already forgotten about it and we've got something new in the pipeline,
Yeah, yeah. Like make the
like
most of your release.
yeah, that's it. Like making the most of it. Because I mean, in the end of the day, like a casual listener does not give a fuck about our album.
Yeah.
Like a casual person who drops in, thinks the song's dope, they don't care. Like they straight up don't care. They're just like, cool, I guess you guys are releasing more music. The only people that care about an album is like a fan.
Yeah.
I mean, like maybe a casual one does as well, but like the main people that care about albums are like fans, and fans will, they'll stick around. They don't
Yeah.
care. Like they're just like, man, I just want the album. It'll be sick. And they like, yeah, I don't know. I just think there's better ways of releasing music. I think a lot of rappers and hip hop artists are like absolutely killing it right now with how they're going about it. And yeah, we're just trying to take a page out of their book.
For sure. I feel like the only heavy band that's kind of doing their releases, well, there's two bands that are kind of doing their releases like that are Dreg. They do like almost exclusively singles now. Singles and videos, and it works so well for them. And then Ice Nine Kills do that as well.
Yeah. Bring me the Horizons doing that's kind of, but they're not super heavy, but like they're kind of doing that kind of thing as well with their like they're just dropping singles and
EPs,
kind of putting them on
randomly.
EPs. And but I mean that's the thing, like there's no rules. It's just like there's no rules to what you want to do. Like
exactly,
I think that's the good thing about music these days is like, because like you being pretty much close to the same age as me, like you would have grown up as well in the time where it's like, you start a band, you do an EP, and then you do a second EP, and then you do an album, and then you do an album. And like there was a very set way of doing all of these things. And like you had to do it in that way. Otherwise, like you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's kind of like that now too, but it's like, I think there's a hell of a lot more room to just kind of be like, fuck it. You know what? Like, let's put out like a triple album for no reason whatsoever, and it'll actually work versus like back then where it's like you literally have to do an EP because like you can't drop just a single because everyone, you can't sell that at a show, or you can't give that away. I mean, you can't do all of that at a show, you can't spread CDs or whatever. And Yeah, music's cool now. I think it's dope. I wish I was a teenager right now because like I'd be. I think music is at the best place it's ever been. Like a lot of people complain because it's like streaming, but like
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's so much better. Like I'm glad
Creatively,
that
it's more open.
yeah, that's it, man. And like yeah, I'm just glad it's out of the stupid album fucking cycle thing because it sounds so like I don't know. I feel so for any bands that have like being stuck in that because it's like, man, how much of that fucking suck just being like, I have to make an album.
Yeah.
Like I can't just make 2 songs that I think are dope and just do that and
Yeah.
then do something else that I think is dope. It's like I have to make a fucking album,
Yeah, and
like
like if that's not capable, like if you're not capable of doing that in a time period that is expected, like you're just going to be spreading yourself too thin.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's where a lot of bands end up with that. Like how every band has that like one album that everyone's like, yeah,
Yeah,
let's just forget that exists. I think
yeah,
that's what happens. Is like
yeah,
they get they had that mad mega success album or two or something like that, and then they get pulled into the studio because like the label's like, bro, let's make
capitalize on
some
the
fucking
hype. Yeah,
yeah, we need to capitalize on the hype. Let's get the bag. And so they do this thing, but they're trying, I don't know, like they're starting to get bored with the sound and they're like, oh, let's experiment a bit. And then like someone's trying to push them to do the same thing and it just turns into a fucking mess. Then they come up with a bunch of songs. They're happy with it for the first like 6 months. And then like a year later where they go back to their original sound or something like that, they're like, oh, what the fuck are we doing?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. I feel like a lot of the 2010 Warp Tour bands got like that.
yeah. Actually, it's a good observation, man. I think to be honest, I think it's an inevitable thing with any musician or any band. I think it just like with I think it depends on what age too you run into all of those phases of being in a band. Like I think anyone whose band blew up when they were like 18, 19 or 20, it's like that's rough shit, man, cuz
Yeah,
like you're essentially at some point probably like album 3, 4, or 5 or something like that, you're gonna have a fucking identity crisis with your
yeah,
band. You're gonna start playing soft shit, not because you're trying to sell out, but just because you're fucking bored of playing like chugs and like screaming and shit.
yeah,
And everyone will fucking hate you for it, or people will love you. It depends on how well you pull it off.
yeah,
But like everyone will hate you for it, and then you'll go back to doing the same stuff you were doing before, and it's like, and it's all because like a fucking label pushed you to like, well, maybe not, but like you want to do that sound, but instead of like being able to get away with just 1 or 2 songs just to test the waters, have your moment where you kind of give something different a bit of a go.
yeah,
It's like, no, you've got to pull off a whole fucking album and fuck your life up to do it.
yeah, yeah,
So versus like for example a band like Spirit Box, for example, I think all of those guys are like nearly 30 or something.
yeah. And they've all been in the
They're
scene for ages.
Yeah, there's no way those guys are gonna have one of those like albums because they've already been. You can tell just based on like the music they're writing, it's like they've definitely already been through that phase
Yeah,
of life.
yeah. They know what band they're in now.
Yeah, they know what they like. They know what
Yeah,
they like. They've had their chance to. I mean, like they can still experiment, but they've got the maturity and everything where it's like they're not going to do it in a way that's going to fucking be
blow
bad
themselves
because
up.
yeah, because
Yeah,
it's not going to come. It's going to come from a place of like we've experienced this. We know what we like. We're just having fun right now, and we don't care. Versus like I hate the music that I make, and I need to do something different because otherwise I'm not going to be like fulfilled.
yeah,
Like yeah, that's nuts. That's absolutely nuts.
yeah. That's
I
it's
forgot what
just
the
how.
question was. I thought, sorry, man. I've
Me
totally
too.
derailed this.
No,
I'm
it's all good,
sorry.
man. It's all good. This has been a fucking sick chat. Thanks for doing the podcast, man.
Oh, dude, any time, man. Yeah, apologize for it being such a long one.
Oh no, no,
Um,
no worries at all.
hopefully this is a bit interesting for someone to listen to.
It's.
I'm
I
sure.
feel like it's very interesting.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure. I'm sure 1 or 2 of my band's listeners will probably like think this is awesome. So that's the main
yeah,
thing.
fuck
That's
yeah,
the main thing. As long as someone out there thinks this is cool, and as long as some kid out there takes that advice that we were talking about earlier,
yeah,
I think it's been a success.
yeah. Well, that's what this is all about. Like giving bands that like are just doing the thing. Like they're not like a crazy massive band like a Parkway, but like giving them a platform where like people that listen to their music can get to know the people in these bands a bit better.
Yeah, because a lot of the people in these sort of bands also have some pretty I'd say everyone's got some interesting stories, some interesting viewpoints and stuff.
Musicians are weird people.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. 100%.
Well, sick, man. We'll get into your top 5 favorite bands of all time, and then socials for yourself and the band, and we'll get out of here.
All right. So top 5 bands for myself.
Yeah.
Is that current
artists.
top 5?
Of all time, usually you can do current if you want.
I'll do all the time because I can't ever pick current. I always forget everyone that I'm listening to. Like, you know that thing where someone puts you on the spot, like, what do you want to listen to, and you forget?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah. So, but
I pick Code Orange if I don't know.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I would say my top 5 of all time would be, well, Metallica would be at number 1.
Yep. Sad Patrol.
Sad Patrol, always at number 1.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, I would probably put Bring Me the Horizon at this stage at number 2.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Architects at number 3.
Sick.
Mostly because of like a lot of their older albums. I'd just listen to the living daylights out of them.
Yeah.
5. Shit. It's hard thinking of 5. That's a tough one. Who the fuck would I pick? Oh man, top 5 of all time. Man, I'm just gonna say North Lane.
Okay.
But like, I sort of like, I don't know. I sort of like mostly only like Alien and like Hollow Existence. Singularity was cool too.
Yeah.
But I wasn't big on the rest of the albums. Like I do like they're good. I think they're fucking amazing albums, but it just didn't tickle my pickle.
Yeah, until Alien.
Until Alien. But I'll put them in there because I guess like from a like a local band level, just seeing them kind of go through and do all the stuff that they did, I think that's an inspiring thing. So I don't pick them less on their music and more just on the fact that they're inspiring, and that I would say for like bands like mine, they definitely local bands, I think they paved a lot of the way. Like I know Parkway did for bands like Northlane and stuff, but I think for a lot of bands like in my group, Northlane is definitely that band.
For sure.
And last band or artist, I was gonna pick a current one and go with Grimes because I'm listening to a hell of a lot of Grimes at the moment. But that's a current. I wouldn't put that as an all time because
sick.
I only been listening to that recently. So but that's my top 5 definitely.
Okay, sick. Cool. And then socials for the band and yourself.
Cool. I have to try and remember them. So my socials all over the internet is just at Traces of Jack.
Okay.
So it's just like TRACES.
Yep.
OFJACK, Traces of Jack. It's like a crap band one. And band socials, because unfortunately we wanted it to be Traces Band on everything.
Yeah.
But the problem with the name Traces is that there's like a new band that starts up every 10 minutes with like that, does something for like, I don't know, 6 months and then gives up. And we didn't take all of those socials when we started. We started with like calling the band like Traces Australia on everything.
Oh yeah.
And when I started trying to get like the new handle for everything, like just like these random bands that haven't like been together since like 2016 have it, and they've got like 2 photos on Instagram or something. So it's Traces Australia on Instagram and Facebook, and I think it's Traces Band on Twitter and TikTok.
Sick.
And I think it's Traces Band on YouTube. But
okay, cool.
If you go to like our Instagram or Facebook or something, you'll be able to find the rest of our links and all of that stuff. So
sick. Well, thanks for doing the podcast,
dude. Anytime. Thanks for listening to me absolutely ramble like crazy.
It is all good. Sick.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Done for another week. Huge thank you to Jack. Really fucking nice person. Really nice. Really easy to talk to. You hear that? If you can hear that, I'm leaving that in. If not, I'm taking it out. That's my dog drinking water because I'm recording this with the door open for once, and he's just having a little drink. That's a thirsty boy if I ever heard one. Anyway, Traces, go check them out wherever you listen to music. They have a new song out called Crown of Thorns. They have a bunch of music out. They're a fucking sick band. Check them out on Instagram at Traces Australia. Check them out on Facebook, Traces. You'll know the fucking band. Yeah, fucking sick band. And if you like what I'm doing over here with the podcast, please tell a friend if you like it. Share, subscribe, follow, do all that good stuff. Follow on Instagram and Facebook at Heavy Sweater Podcast. Follow on YouTube. I'll try and be a bit less slack about the YouTube content. It's just so much work. You know what I'm saying? I'm a lazy guy at heart. I'm a thick boy for a reason, you know? And if you're listening to this, it's 9 o'clock. This episode's come out on Sunday morning. Recorded it in the past. Recording the intro in the past. But that's my dog again. You hear this guy? But if you've got some time, of course you do. It's Sunday, it's Lord's Day, it's Sabbath, we're all relaxing. We're just taking the day off. Got church in the morning, not me, somebody else. But head on down to Vinny's Dive Bar today, Sunday, the 13th of February. Check out some fucking bands. What bands? Fucking check this out. Disgust. Check them out. Check them out. Ocean Shores. Hang 'em High. Shokan. Whoa. Fucking what, dog? That's a cool show. Starts at 2 p.m. Vinny's Dive Bar. Check it out. Anyway, come back next week for a new episode. I got bangers of episodes now. I've banked up so many. So they're all going to be sick. So you win here. Tell your friends. Tell your friends that they're going to be a winner if they listen to Heavy Sweater Podcast. Come back next week for a new episode, please. Thanks.